Hello there, and welcome to Really Cool Excel. Most people use Excel to perform some sort of calculation. That's what it's designed to do. So, as far as calculations are concerned, this video starts right at the beginning and explains simple formulas like how to add, subtract, multiply and divide. First, let me tell you a very important thing about Excel formulas. They all start with an equals sign. All the time. No exceptions, ever. Let's get started with these examples. First, we'll add two cells together, B3 and C3, and put the result in D3. So, click D3 and type the equals sign. Now Excel knows there's a formula coming along, not some text or numbers or dates, a formula. As soon as you type equals, the formula bar opens up and whatever you type in the cell will appear here too. Also, a cross and a tick are now visible here. Type in the cell reference for the first part of this calculation, B3. Now type a plus sign. Now type the second cell reference, C3. To complete the formula, click the tick and the answer is 20. I should say there are other ways to finish off a formula, like hitting enter or return, but the tick is absolutely foolproof, so I recommend you use it. Another important thing, you haven't added 10 plus 10. So I guess you've checked and think I've completely lost the plot. Well, I haven't. What you've added is what's in B3 to whatever's in C3, which just happens to be 10 plus 10. Therefore, if I change one of these figures, the formula in D3 will recalculate and the result will change automatically. I'll show you. Type 8 in here, hit enter, and the result changes to 18. So we built that formula by typing in cell references, but there's an easier way that helps to prevent mistakes. Click D4, because that's where the next answer is going. Type equals, then click the first cell reference, B4. Now type a minus sign, then click the second cell reference, C4. Click the tick, and there's your answer. Now whether you type in the cell references or click on the cells, Excel will build the formula in exactly the same way. Clicking the cells is more accurate. You might type the wrong cell, but you're unlikely to click the wrong one. Now in D5 I'll follow the same process, and the symbol for multiply is the asterisk. Click the tick as usual to complete the formula. And finally, in D6, same again, and the divide symbol is the /. Before we move on, let's take a closer look at these formulas. I'll move the mouse and you look at the formula bar, up here. You'll see that the structure of all the formulas is exactly the same. They all begin with equals. Then we have the two cells with the symbol in the middle. By the way, the proper Excel term for these symbols is operator. So, if you're working with only two cells, that's all you need to do. It's that straightforward. Now let's look at another example. You've just seen how to create individual formulas to add, subtract, multiply and divide two cells. But in this example we need to create 8 individual formulas, multiplying A3 by B3 with the result in C3, then repeating the process down to row 10. Creating each formula individually would work perfectly well, but it would be very laborious and quite boring. Which brings us to another very important thing about Excel. When you find yourself repeating an action several times, stop and look for the quicker way, because there will be one, and if you can find it, you'll save heaps of time in the long run. So, using what we just discussed, in C3, a formula to multiply A3 by B3. Tick. Then we'll use the replicating method explained in the really cool Excel video called AutoFill. Click on C3, hover your mouse over the little black square at the bottom right hand corner of the cell. The mouse pointer changes to a black cross. Click and hold the black cross and drag down to C10. By using AutoFill, you've replicated the formula at C3 all the way down to C10. And to prove it, click on each of the results in column C and check what's shown in the formula bar. C3 will show A3 times B3, then C4 will show A4 times B4, and so on down. So instead of creating 8 individual formulas, boring and slow, you've created one and replicated it 7 times, fast and accurate. So that's it. 4 simple formulas to add, subtract, multiply and divide, with a wee bit of autofill thrown in for good measure. And just to remind you, there is an autofill video in the Really Cool Excel series, so maybe you could have a look at that on your next coffee break. In closing, and to see what Excel and Winnie the Pooh have in common, click on the sample file that goes with this video. It's called The Story of Edward Bear. Go on, you know you want to. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.